Well, the election's over. Where you been?
I think we got hacked by Putin. Somebody, WikiLeaks, Putin, the RNC, somebody messed with our YouTube channel. And we were down. And wasn't it strange that it was right here at the end of this election that I've been talking about incessantly for a year and a half? I think it's part of a vast right-wing conspiracy myself, but I can't prove it. But we're back now.
Yes.
I know that it's probably politically incorrect, as if I care about that, to try to make light of what has happened in America. But having said that, that's what we do. So what I would say that I'm finding particularly interesting is that for the very first time, we're experiencing the profiling of white people. Now, I do think that people of color have very smartly been profiling us all along. You know, trying to check out to see whether or not we might have a concealed weapon, whether we're wearing a Confederate flag on our blue jean jacket. But now it's not the communities of color, it's white people profiling other white people. You know, going to the Whole Foods, well, no, at the Whole Foods everybody's a Democrat, right?
Yes.
Or worse. But what we have now is these white folks who are looking at each other with the side eye at the Tom Thumb going, are you one of those white people? Are you one of those people who voted for Trump? Are you one of those people who voted for Hillary? Or worse yet, are you one of those people who voted for Jill Stein? And I do appreciate, you know, there was that kind of push for people to wear the safety pins.
Yes, safety pin.
And I think that, number one, I can never find a safety pin when I need it. And I don't know that, I mean, besides safety pin, I don't want to put a safety pin where a brooch ought to be. So I'm going to suggest that to avoid the profiling, that all the Trump supporters just go ahead and wear those red gimme caps all the time for the next 4 years. So that way we don't have to profile. I don't have to give you side eye. You don't have to give me side eye. We'll just go, I'm not wearing the cap. You know who I am. You are wearing the cap. I know who you are. I can say, good morning, how are you, Mr. Trump supporter? And you can say, good, how are you? And we can just go on about our business without having to do all of this like this. Because that's just wrong. Because on top of the profiling piece that's kind of interesting and sort of amusing, and people being all freaked out about what's going to happen once Trump assumes the presidency in January, and I think, well, that's a long-term issue to take a look at, but we've got to get through Thanksgiving first. You know, and by Thanksgiving, I mean white Thanksgiving. Because, you know, the communities of color, they, in large majorities, all supported Hillary.
Yes.
It's only in the white voting bloc where you have 58% who voted for Trump and the rest didn't. So white folks are kind of equally split. In my own precinct, it went 51% Hillary and 48%, I think it was, for Trump. So, I mean, so it's split.
Yes. In Lakewood?
So, and now we're in Lakewood. And we're going to have Thanksgiving. And the one thing, though, that we can all agree on, because, you know, Thanksgiving at white folks' house, I can only speak to white folks because that's who I am. You have a bunch of folks that get together, the brothers and sisters and parents and aunts and uncles, and everybody gets together, and the only thing that everybody's going to agree on is that we all hate on people who did not vote. So those people are going to be in the background trying not to have to admit that they didn't vote. And everybody's going to try to avoid a confrontation, and that moment's going to come because there's always that one person, whether it's, you know, the head of the family or that really sweet aunt who's like, let's take a moment to all say what we're most thankful for. And they'll go around the room and talk about their health and their children, and then the poor Hillary supporter is going to just burst into tears, saying, I have nothing to be thankful for. Hillary has lost the election. All of the progressive advances that have been made in the last 50 years with voting rights and women's rights and LGBT rights, it's all going away. And then the Bernie supporter is going to chime in and say how if y'all had just let us put him on the ballot instead of rigging the primaries against him, he could have been beaten Trump, and the Trump people will then come out and say, oh, y'all all shut up, just get behind the new president and get over it, stop being sore losers. Which, by the way, would somebody tell me, was I in a coma? I've never seen the American people unite behind any president my whole life. But that's just me. So that's what we've got. And then when that conflagration, rears its ugly head, somebody is going to reach for the carving knife. And the bird that gets carved is going to be your Uncle Harry. So, in the interest of having a safe Thanksgiving, white Thanksgiving, in America next week, I'm recommending that no turkeys be served, that everything that's served needs to be able to be eaten with a spoon. You can have mashed potatoes, you can have your green bean casserole, but turkey not so much. Ham, probably not so much. Pie, not so much, because you got to have those crusts, particularly if you don't make the crust from scratch and you use one of those awful store-bought things. You have to get a knife. So we're just going to do puddings: chocolate pudding, pecan pudding, pumpkin pudding, just puddings, just spoons. No forks. Forks could be dangerous. I can do some damage with a fork. So that's what we need to do in order to get through this Thanksgiving and not have the news on Black Friday, the day after, right? Thanksgiving.
Yes, the day after.
Be how from coast to coast, American families, white, have ruined their great-grandmother's antique lace tablecloths. Because there'll be bloodstains on everything. And that way we can get through the end of this month before we have to start worrying about getting through, Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.